Abstract as scholarly signature. In doctoral research, few elements are as deceptively brief, yet as consequential as the abstract. It is often the first, and sometimes the only section that editors and reviewers read before deciding whether a manuscript will move forward in the review process. Within a few sentences, the abstract must communicate the essence of your study, its purpose, its approach, and its contribution to knowledge. It must also demonstrate coherence, originality, and fit with the journal's mission. In short, the abstract is the intellectual handshake that introduces your work to the scholarly world. If that handshake is weak or unfocused, the door to peer review may never open. A well-crafted abstract is more than a summary. It is a microcosm of your research story. It tells readers what question motivated your study, how you pursued it, what you discovered, and why those discoveries matter. It must convey rigor and purpose while remaining accessible to readers outside your specific subfield. In this way, the abstract serves two audiences at once: the specialist, who will assess your methodological credibility, and the broader scholarly community that will judge the relevance of your ideas. The art lies in balancing both perspectives through precise, engaging, and purposeful communication. The abstract as intellectual architecture. The abstract is not merely an administrative requirement or an afterthought, it is an intellectual design. Good abstract gets the attention of potential readers and can entice them to continue reading. The abstract is also important in the review process. It is the first thing that a reviewing editor reads. Each sentence has a structural role, much like the components of a well-engineered building. The foundation is your research problem, the framework is your methodological approach, the walls are your findings, and the finishing detail is your contribution. If any of these pieces are missing or misaligned, the abstract, and by extension, the paper, feels incomplete. The best abstracts combine two essential traits: accuracy and interest. Accuracy ensures that your summary faithfully represents the study's content, while interest ensures that readers care enough to continue. Editors, reviewers, and scholars are all searching for research that matters. A well-written abstract provides that assurance by presenting both substance and significance in a coherent, self-contained narrative. Understanding abstract types. There are several forms of abstracts that you may encounter in scholarly writing, and understanding their distinctions is essential for aligning your work with the expectations of your target publication. Descriptive abstracts are the simplest form. They summarize the scope and purpose of a study, but stop short of presenting detailed findings. These are typically used for conceptual or theoretical papers, where the contribution lies in argumentation rather than empirical data. Informative abstracts are the standard for empirical research. They include the study's purpose, method, principal results, and theoretical or practical implications. Their goal is to provide a complete picture of what was done and why it matters. Structured abstracts follow a more formalized pattern, often required by top-tier journals. They use labeled subheadings such as purpose, design methodology, findings, and contribution. The advantage of this format is that it ensures completeness and uniformity across submissions. Regardless of which type you use, the principles remain constant: clarity, precision, and alignment between purpose, method, and contribution. Slide 4, Designing the Abstract, a 4-question framework. Writing an abstract takes time and attention, and the abstract should not be the last quick thing authors attend to before submission. All too often, abstracts are overly technical and hard to understand without having read the full manuscript. Remember that the abstract is often the only part of your paper that many readers will see. It appears in databases, search results, and conference programs. It must be able to stand alone and communicate the essence of your research. The abstract is best written after you are finished with the rest of your paper. The following 4 questions may help structure your abstract. Try answering them in 1 to 3 sentences each to stay within the 250-word limit. What is the problem? Outline the objective, research questions, and/or hypotheses. What has been done? Explain your research methods. What did you discover? Summarize the key findings and conclusions. What do the findings mean? Summarize the discussion and recommendations. These 4 questions form a natural narrative arc: context, action, discovery, and significance. Together, they mirror the logical progression of a full research paper, condensed into a few sentences. When you can answer these questions clearly and coherently, your abstract will not only inform, but also persuade. Keywords and scholarly visibility. Although keywords may seem like a technical afterthought, they play a pivotal role in how your work is discovered, indexed, and evaluated. Databases, search engines, and even editorial systems rely on them to categorize research and determine relevance. Selecting keywords should therefore be a strategic act. Choose 4 to 6 terms that accurately represent your study's topic, theoretical framework, and methodological approach. Use terminology consistent with the language of your target journal, so editors immediately see the connection between your work and their readership. Avoid overly generic words like business or management. Instead, select precise phrases such as digital leadership, audit quality, or knowledge-based view. Effective keywords not only help others find your work, they signal to editors that you understand the intellectual community you are writing for. The reality of desk rejection. To appreciate the importance of a strong abstract, it helps to understand what happens behind the scenes in the editorial process. When a manuscript arrives, the editor often reads the title and abstract first to decide whether the paper fits the journal's scope and standards. If it does not make a compelling case within those first few moments, it is likely to be rejected without review, a process known as a desk reject. Desk rejection rates have risen sharply in recent years, not because editors enjoy rejecting papers, but because they must manage the overwhelming volume of submissions with finite reviewer resources. As Borgelsteig and Bird, 2024 note, editors must act as stewards of scholarly attention, preserving it for manuscripts that demonstrate clear potential. The most common triggers for desk rejection are predictable. They include poor alignment between the paper and the journal's focus, lack of theoretical grounding, exaggerated or unsupported claims, vague or interchangeable abstracts, and simple carelessness in presentation. What all of these have in common is a failure to communicate rigor and relevance effectively. A strong abstract mitigates these risks by making your contribution visible from the very beginning. Testing abstract quality, the substitution method, Borgelsteig and Bird, 2024, offer a simple but powerful test for determining whether an abstract is too generic. Identify the main construct in your study, perhaps trust, culture, innovation, or leadership, and replace it with another construct from your field. If the abstract still makes sense, it lacks specificity. Consider this hypothetical literature review abstract. Institutions have been recognized as a crucial topic in international business research, with wide-ranging implications for internationalizing firms. As a result, there are a wide variety of studies in different contexts, using different methods, a diverse set of theories, and a variety of empirical measures. In this article, we review the existing literature, evaluate current approaches critically, and highlight directions for future research. Replace institutions with leadership, and the statement remains true. That means it says nothing unique. Strong abstracts are conceptually anchored. They would fall apart if you swapped out their key terms. This specificity demonstrates not only clarity of thought, but also confidence in your research contribution. The substitution method forces you to confront vagueness and pushes your writing toward precision. It is one of the most reliable self-assessment tools for doctoral writers refining their work for publication. Final evaluation before submission. Before sending your manuscript to a journal, review your abstract as if you were an editor encountering it for the first time. Ask yourself, does it clearly explain what the study investigates, how it was conducted, and why it matters? Would someone outside my specialization understand the significance? Is it free of vague language and unnecessary detail? A strong abstract should stand on its own. It should communicate purpose, method, and contribution in a way that is both coherent and complete. If you find that your abstract requires the reader to consult the full paper for clarity, it is not yet ready. The abstract should serve as both an invitation and a promise, a preview of quality that the rest of the paper fulfills. Also, make sure the rest of your manuscript follows the principles of good academic writing that you learned from the previous lectures. 1. Develop a focused, compelling story that can be explained in plain English to a non-academic audience. 2. Craft a clear 4-paragraph introduction that sets the scene, identifies the gap, introduces your study, and states your contribution. 3. Know your audience and immerse yourself in the language and debates of your field. 4. Avoid vague wording and be precise in your claims and contributions. 5. Write a clear, self-standing abstract that passes the substitution test. 6. Distinguish between literature review and theory and develop strong theoretical arguments. 7. Spell out theoretical mechanisms and rule out alternative explanations. 8. Match your constructs with appropriate empirical measures. 9. Link your research question, theory, hypotheses, and implications in a logical chain. 10. Think of yourself as a prosecuting attorney building a compelling case supported by credible evidence. Closing reflection. Remember, the ability to communicate your research effectively is just as important as the research itself. A brilliant study that cannot be communicated clearly will never have the impact it deserves. So, as you finalize your paper, test your abstracts using the substitution method. Review your introductions to ensure they follow the 4-paragraph structure. Polish your writing to eliminate careless errors. And above all, focus on telling a compelling, believable story that advances our understanding of important phenomena in your field. References,